My greetings to you. Thank you for being here, but I know if you're here seeing this, it means that I have gone on to be with Jesus. So I'm going to take this opportunity to share my testimony and kind of get in the last words. So thank you for bearing with me. I'll start with my testimony. As a young girl, 5 years old, I remember specifically coming in through our garage door into our kitchen, and for some reason our black and white TV was set in the kitchen right then, and my family was watching videos of the Pearl Harbor attack, and I watched it just in horror, and I said, "Mom, what is happening to these men? Are they going to heaven?" She said, "Teresa, only the ones who have Jesus Christ as their personal Savior are going to heaven." And I thought about that, and that's when it clicked, and I said, I want to go to heaven if I die. What if I'm attacked tonight? Mom, I want to have Jesus in my heart. So she said, "Let's go in the living room." And we sat on the couch, and she explained to me, she said, "Remember the verses we've learned, Romans 3:23, for all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God. Teresa, have you sinned?" Yeah, I've sinned. And she explained to me the whole plan of salvation and the verses that go with it. And she said, "You just have to pray a prayer to ask Jesus to be your Savior." And I said, "Mom, you pray better than I do. I want it to come from your words." She says, "No, Teresa. God is your Savior. He's your Father. He created you. He wants to hear your voice. You pray." So I did, and I just prayed, "Lord, please forgive my sins. Come into my heart. Be my personal Savior. I do want to spend eternity in heaven with you." And he did come in my heart. Now, I remember specifically the next 2 days coming home from school, walking up the sidewalk saying, "Lord, I know I prayed that prayer, but in case you didn't hear me, I want you to be my Savior." And the second day, I did that. And then I realized, walking home the next day, Teresa, God is so big. He created you. He hears every word you say. Of course he's going to hear that one prayer that he's been waiting to hear. He is your Savior, Teresa. So I have lived with 100% confidence from that day ever since that Jesus is my Savior. He's my loving Father, and I am going to heaven the day that I die, and I will spend eternity with him. So that's a special testimony I have with my mom. I think that's just a precious moment, sitting there praying with her. I have equally precious moments, fun moments with my dad. My family, we had 5 kids, and every summer, Mom and Dad would pack us all into the station wagon and take us. We went to Yosemite, we went to Yellowstone, we went to Alaska, we went to Canada. They took us on great, great trips. Now, I can only imagine thousands of miles into that trip with 5 kids fighting in the back seat, then wondering what were we thinking. But they certainly gave us incredible memories. And one of those memories is a summer we were in Yosemite, and Dad decided, okay, tomorrow we will hike to Half Dome. So any of your kids who want to go, you can decide to go, and we'll go up the rock. And so Sandy, my older sister, and I pondered and pondered. Okay, shall we do it? Can we do it? Can we do it? We decided yes. Tomorrow morning we'll get up and we'll go to Half Dome. And so we got up in the dark the next day, put on our tennis shoes, that's how prepared we were for hiking, packed our lunches, and prayed that no bears would attack us and our food. And we hiked and hiked and hiked. It's a long ways to Half Dome. So we got all the way up to the top, to where the rock is, sat down and rested, and I was beat. And Dad finally said, "Okay, let's all go. It's time to ascend the rock." You kind of go up by ropes. And I said, "Can't do it. And Teresa, you got this far, and you would not go up? Can't do it. My feet hurt. My legs hurt. I'm too exhausted." I was just crying inside. "Can't do it, Dad. No, I'm going to sit down here and wait." Okay, so the rest of my group went upstairs. I sat by a tree, and I waited and waited and waited. And the longer I waited, the more rested I got. And finally I realized, I'm here. I should do it. So the next ranger group got together, and I kind of snuck in there, and we started up the rock. Well, that happened to be just as my family was coming down the rock, and I'm ascending. Dad's coming down. He says, "Teresa, what are you doing?" I said, "Well, Daddy, I decided I could make it. Will you take me to the top of the rock?" Now remember, I had rested. Dad had not. He'd already ascended this huge hike up the rock. And you know what he did? He turned around and he took me to the top of Half Dome. And I got to see the incredible view, the incredible God's creation from the top of Half Dome. I made it to the top of the journey because Dad took me there. And I will never forget that he turned around and got me to the top. And you know, that's not the only rock in life Dad would help me get over. My future includes many, many huge half domes, and Dad prayed me through many, many, many of those. So that's just a father's love. And you know, my family was interesting. I know from the day I was born, we never ever decided if we were going to go to church. If it's Sunday morning, the church doors are open, the Lewises are there. We were worshiping, we were studying, we were serving, we were there. And I remember once, as a teenager, finally realizing and praying, "Jesus, I pray that you would give me a man to marry who is also growing in the Lord right now, and is also from a strong, solid Christian family." And you know, I didn't know the value of that prayer at the time, but I prayed it, and God answered it. There was, when I was a junior in college, and I met Mike Evans, and his family is as solid. They've never decided if they're going to go to church either. They are there when the doors are open, and they are serving Jesus and studying the Word, and they're as committed to the Lord as my family is, and I thank God for answering that prayer. So we marry and have our first 2 children, buy our house, living happily ever after. And I said to the Lord one day, "God, you've given me such a blessed and easy life. Would I stay strong and steadfast if I went through major trials?" Probably should never have that thought, but I did have the thought. And worried about that. You know, am I sincere in my faith? And we have some really, really sweet videotape. This will be Shannon's 1-year-old birthday. There we are in the backyard of our house at our little Tykes orange and yellow table with our 1-year-old free birthday cake from Albertsons. And so Carissa and Dad and I are singing, "Happy birthday, dear Shannon. Happy birthday to you." And Carissa's face just drops. "I thought this party was for me," she says. And I tried to explain to her in months, dates, weeks, "No, honey, your birthday's in 6 weeks. You'll be 3-year-old in 6 weeks. And I promise we'll give you your birthday party then." Well, I wasn't able to follow through on that promise. The next day was Sunday, and after church, Mike and Shannon were having their Sunday afternoon naps, and Carissa and I got in the car to do some errands in Mission Valley, and we didn't make it home from Mission Valley that day. Mike was awakened by the San Diego Police Department calling, saying, "Your wife has been in an accident, your daughter. You need to go see them at different hospitals." So Mike calls Ann and says, "Ann, you go to Teresa's hospital, take care of her. I'll go to Chris's hospital and take care of things there." Well, you know what? Part of having been those consistent Sunday attenders is that we were a solid part of a Sunday school class. And you know, within minutes, when Michael called Ann made a phone call too, prayer chain started. And I think before he was settled into the hospital for very long, our class was there too, praying for us, giving us food, supporting Mike and supporting my family. They have been there just behind us all the way. And of course, Michael did not get good news at the hospital.